Folks, on to another week here. Tuesday show. What's happening? Back to Harmonic Pattern Podcast number 411. Let's talk about some earnings today. Let's line up what's about to come here because I think we are on to an extremely pivotal week. So let's let the crowd pile in here. What's going on, chat? Give you guys a shout out. Great to see everybody today. What's up? Alec, David, Candle, Flies. What's up, Pete? MK Ultra and the rest of the Gartley Harmonic Pattern people. Great to see you guys. Come on in, everybody. Settle up. Let's get to it. Let's talk about some immediate situations. Let's start with Bitcoin right off the bat. Give it some love. Bitcoin is just quietly back here at 95,000, huh? Who would have thought about that? Great to see everybody. Come on in. Yep. What's up, Riz? Rudy, what's up? Long time. Yeah, I saw that. We will get into some stocks. He's talking about Chipotle. I did see. Guys, there's so many patterns right now that have yet to play. I'm talking bullish patterns that have yet to even start to move. That I think we're in a really interesting spot. It's kind of like where Bitcoin was about 2 weeks ago. So we'll get into all of that. Here's Bitcoin currently. I don't think we've missed a pivot. I don't think we have missed a single pivot, especially in the last 8 months. We've been ping-ponging Bitcoin, and let's do it again. Great to see everybody. Yeah, come on in, guys. I know. I think what I got to do is I can't be late. I got to start the show maybe more like 12:15. I think 12:30 is too late for people. Maybe even go back to 12 noon. I don't know. You guys, what do you think of this time? Anyway, with crypto, Bitcoin, all of it, I'm encouraged because we're not lower and we didn't fail 76,000. And that's a great thing. Where are we currently there's a multitude of harmonic patterns here, all of these levels. And that's really, for me, I like to distill it down to a single level. And I'm going to say this, 97,000 is your absolute make break. We talked about 91,000 for a long time, but you won't see anything spectacular again in Bitcoin until we can firmly assert the 97,000 level. Try to assault it and then go from there. What we're getting today, I think, is, first HSI we have seen in about 6 weeks, and that was yesterday, even with the bullish candle. So that is, first step, check back today. I think we're going to have to just take it into the rest of the week. But for right now, just know that the 97 level has been for a long time the top end resistance. I would say, to make it really easy to remember, it's 76 to 96. So we're still in this. The big news on Bitcoin, guys, the really big news on Bitcoin is the fact, and it's in the weekly chart, it's no major patterns, but the fact that we are above the 50 level, you gotta like that. Look, this is where acceleration happens for us, harmonic pattern people. Okay, so we're looking at levels, we're looking at formations most people don't, which is a good thing. And ever since the dot 2 weeks ago, we have been following through in ideal fashion. So what does that mean? Understand, short-term bias is still up. So don't worry about Bitcoin. We're still up, even though I think we're going to pause here. And I don't think, it would surprise me to see 96K get annihilated straight off, but it doesn't mean we can't work our way through that. And work, as is probably the word, where you require multiple tests. You know, we're gonna punch this 96, 97 level a few times. So be aware of that. Just understand where we are within the framework of for Bitcoin and the rest. Okay, and be patient with it. But guys, we've been spot on with this, and that's really why I'm here doing what I'm doing. It's about the levels. I don't care how you derive them. You got to come up with price levels. You got to define the environment that we're in. And for Bitcoin right now, that is up, continues to be up. I want to see a thorough test. You know, so far the high has been 95,626 on the week. I still say it's more like 96.5. And the weekly chart has nothing here. You know, the weekly chart is above the 50 level, and we are just it's kind of unusual, but amplified is actually in tandem. Usually that's a little lagging. So monitor amplified, and let's see what we do when we have this thorough test here of 96. Look, the daily chart that we were addressing for the past many weeks of a crab pattern, type 1 bearish crab goes to a type 1 bullish crab. All of that means is that it reinforces these key levels, 76 and then 96. Not to mention the pattern that set us off from back in December at 96, okay, was a key level, even though it took a bunch of time. I would say there's a lot of similarities here where 96, okay, let's get confirmation, let's get a dot before we even worry about anything. I mean, if this is a type 1 crab, just taking the bullish crab, then maybe we'd get a retest. One more retest down for the type 2. I'm not there yet because the weekly looks so good. So I no longer think 68K. For right now, I got to get a dot. I got to get confirmation up in here. I'm saying it's just not yet. Yes, typically it could be a type 2, and that's what we were talking about in the area down here. So treat it as a pause. I'm not looking. We lost it. We lost it. You got to be kidding me. Are we back, guys? Hold on. Let me know. I've got a lot of shenanigans going outside. What is going on here? Oh man, I better call my maitre d'. Better call my butler. What's going on? Let me know. All right. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, so that's it with Bitcoin. And it's not in a bad spot. It's not going to blast, and you're going to deal with this HSI. Let me pop a couple of key crypto markets to be looking at the moment, and then you guys show me your nastiest, your dirtiest crypto available. Looking at the others index. Okay, and I think this is another interesting kind of side note into when is all this other just dirty crypto going to start moving again. We have patterns, no doubt, and this actually helps us going forward. And we had a dot, what was that, 10 days ago down there, like 193. This bat pattern's at it's back to back. You got a bullish bat here, you got a bearish alternate. All of that was spot on, and now we're back for a retest. It's like a 2. So be aware of that. Lots of levels, but it's not blasting off. So that's why the next couple of days are important. We're going counter. That was yesterday on a lot of these. A lot of crypto markets ended their reaction of the past few weeks with an HSI counter. So we might not be quite ready to rumble yet. I think we could see this this pattern, okay, on the others eventually get up to target ones. If anything, this is truly, it is a type 2 off of that first pattern. So we'll be squeezed. Even if we're squeezed, that suggests we move up from where we are, like 230, 249, excuse me, 240 billion, get as high as like 300 billion. What's that? 20%, 25% move in the others index. That would bring a pop. And that's what we want. We want to see some activity going into this summer, right? What if we're not going to get, I mean, here's the question for everybody in crypto, okay? If we are not going to get the move this summer, when are we going to get the move? When are we going to get this move? I mean, I really want to see larger development, but I like that. And again, the weekly chart is the one to focus on because check out others on the weekly. So this is a better picture and it builds our argument. It definitely adds to our argument that the weekly bat pattern, that's pretty phenomenal. 184 billion with a dot. Okay. Signs. You know, this follow through last week was ideal. I would like to see a couple more and get up to target one up here, 281-ish. And that's great for all your little coins. All of your little coins and my little coin, you know, the little total garbage crypto. We're trying to speculate here, but we need a good environment. We need to trade the market when it's ready to be traded. You guys know I always say that. And this is at least in a type 1. Still is. A couple more interesting things that I talked about. Listen, I talked about some of the other more popular crypto on the last cycle, like HBAR around 17 here, 17.5 with a weekly level. That did pop a little bit, but like the rest of them, you know, we're all running into these counter HSI signals. So that's just mentioning that this has developed where we could see this thing pause. HBAR, yeah, maybe a setup here soon, but you know, a little pause pullback. Don't chase. No reason to chase anything at this point. Stellar Lumens. Here's another one where, look, I'm going to start scaling out of this because of the HSI. I went long 28, 25, 23 kind of a thing, and then a little more 25, 27. And this has to do the move. I mean, this is really a type 2 where the counter HSI is coming in and really slowing up the pace. So where's this go back? I mean, back into the zone a little bit? Maybe. Maybe a nominal retest at 27. It's a beautiful setup. Beautiful pattern. There are quite a few. Some of the others. Yep. XRP, you know, had some news on that recently, and I wish I had something to say, yeah, this is a monster buy. Let's rip it, you know, both hands and ride till $9 or whatever. Not there yet. Not to mention, we're just trying to crack this downtrend line. And maybe that downtrend line's better served like there. Something like that. But not a lot structurally to go on the daily levels here. 4-hour chart, probably the time frame to be monitoring. But I'm still of the opinion these are to be traded. You have 3 patterns. That's pretty remarkable. Going back to March, crab type 1 full return. Another crab, it's a 2 of 2, and then yet another type 1, bang, full return. Now a shark. So we've had one big 30% move, another big, call it 30%, that's 30% plus. Or, no, sorry. That's like a 20%. No, this is 30. To there, it's like 25% move. Off of that low, all of them at 180, 195-ish, doing 10 to 30% moves. This one just completed a 20% move. We might be capped pretty soon. Red candle on XRP, and then another return, maybe. To me, it says it's just not ready to rage at the moment. That's all. It's getting a little top heavy. What's going on, everybody? Jump on in. Welcome, late arrivers. Again, hey, you guys let me know. Is 12 o'clock a better time or 12:30? I'm just lazy. Seriously, that's my problem. Like, I get caught up. I was trying to trade NASDAQ this morning. I mean, I did. I had a couple of nice moves. Despite the, rather tame 100-point range. But then I just find myself, it's like 11:30. I got to reach for that second pot of coffee. Got to make that. And then before you know it, it's 12:30. But if 12 o'clock works better, you guys let me know. Yeah, everyone else that's just coming in now, get over to harmonictrader.com. Get with what people are calling the greatest software alive. Not just harmonic pattern, but greatest software, because we're generating the levels. I don't say it anywhere else, but send your TradingView username to hpc@sr-analyst.com. Get the 14-day free trial and just get with the program. Everybody that's in here should be working with that. If you're not, give me a good reason. DM me on the Discord, okay, and tell me why. I'd love to know why you're not with it. And I'll help you to get with it. That's what we're doing. Put the tools in the hands. Someone wants to look at SEI and again, I think you got to dial down to the 4-hour chart on all these. The daily, the weekly, they're big levels. I mean, SEI and SUI is the other one that raged off of that pattern. They all have like weekly dots like this. And they got oversold. I mean, it was pretty sweet. You saw that on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, and all weekly chart. So to reverse off of those signals is going to take some time to get out of that area. SEI is down here with a daily ugly, failed almost, I would say, bat pattern, although confirmation was like 16 cents. At this point, trigger off the hop. Look at more like 19 and a half. Like the weekly thing for, and this is a lot of crypto right here. So use this as an example for any of the second or tertiary tier crypto that's not top 10, top 30. But we're looking for this stuff on SEI. Get above the 50. That's a good sign. Amplified is not above the 50, so you can't really expect acceleration out of there until you get above the 50. And it's a lot like what we were dealing with last summer. Okay, here's last summer. And we were down oversold over here. It's kind of an equivalent relative spot, which was August. And then we finally broke out, but that was a month later. And then look where we were on the chart, okay? You're down here at some dots deep in the hole and had some consolidation, but the clear signal of getting out of that 50 level here, it came, came like 4 weeks later. Then you knew or could assume that you have something at your back. I would say the same thing here. Like, how do I really know this is going to bottom out? Give me a little saucer bottom and keep going. Get amplified above the 50. Just print some green. Print a green candle to get the momentum. Otherwise, we're still in development. And that matters because we don't want to be sitting on stuff. We don't want to be, just going sideways forever. Sure. What's up, Neil? Joselio and Neil want to look at Maker. What's up, guys? How are you today? Welcome back on Tuesday. Uh, what's up, Driz? He wants to know, do we do lifetime or annual? You can do both. Either one for the software. But just don't even think about subscribing. Just get with the 2 week trial first. Also, really quick, just to kind of tie this in, if you're not as on the basic membership, go over there. It all starts at harmonictrader.com. I do have to mention something. I have kind of a disaster issue with trying to get Harmonic Pattern Collection back online. So if you go to harmonicpatterncollection.com, it's not online. It's kind of, I'm trying to get it moved over to a new host, and it's the whole thing's a mess. Hopefully I have that straightened out in the next couple of days. But for now, just it all starts at harmonictrader.com. Register now as a basic member and then get with all the free materials. That's your 2 week jump start to get into this. You got plenty of time to do so. Maker looks like it's ready to make on really phenomenal development since the low in February. So even though most of the crypto market has still been going down, Maker bottomed really early February, and I like what's happening. Talk about development and taking time. This is really what I mean. There's the 50 level getting pierced by HSI and amplified. That's great. And you're making progress. This little nominal, and let me just show you this way. This little nominal test there, and then the breakout is a big signal. That's something to look at. If you're not looking at HSI, please understand that kind of a move where HSI has already asserted itself and now makes the progress, that's constructive. Where can it go? I think back to 2K is not crazy. Even in like a subtle 4 to 6 week rally, you're in there. And I like this. Oh yeah, look. All right, come back for the looping type 2. Right here. Hold on. What's going on? I'm getting some okay. Anyway, sorry. So I like Maker, and it's got the development I want to see. Really, just a couple of observations, and that's a lot of what we do here. Things that I point out are, take them to heart, because it's really the goal here is to direct your eyeballs to what to be focusing on for proper levels and confirmation, and even overall character, and this kind of stuff. Look, you got oversold like everything else. On the daily, that was March. You came up, you broke the 50 level. First sign, great. And now we have stayed above the 50 level for the better part of 6 weeks. That's solid strength. So I like what's happening. Price hasn't done much yet, but I do like that development. That kind of stuff matters, guys. Really. And the obvious targets are, go back and retest. I think 2164. Let's put that up. We'll revisit that. Give it like a week. Let's see. What's going on? What's up, Floyd's Garage? What's up, Tech Analysis? What's up? The faster we go, the rounder we get. Yeah, how many shows though, Echo? How many shows? That's what I want to know. How many shows were you able to catch during the time? You know what I'm talking about. What's your show count? Mine's like 85. Anybody that doesn't know, the faster we go, the rounder we get. It's a band reference. What's up, Mr. Batson? Mr. Wayne Batson says, or asking, can render get back to 437? Maybe. I think it can, because have we really accelerated yet? Render's probably One of the nicest configuration of daily and weekly patterns that we've talked about. I think 390 is what, can we come back and kiss that XA level one more time? You're 443. But I've been saying this for probably 6 weeks now that render has the ideal, all of the ideal type 2 material that you want to see. Confirmation, T2, now you get above the 50 level. And interestingly enough, you're looking for 437. Why not? I don't. You're 5 cents away. I'm thinking, can we have an XA retest and then go? Because this thing's trying to bust out. And render, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Cracking the 50 line and getting a move up higher is where the acceleration can really happen. And look at the last time we did that very thing. Okay, you got to go back. We pierced 50, we rejected, and then true breakout. And now we'll follow that to the chart. See where that is? Like there. That's the kind of thing. That's why acceleration comes at that point. That's why we're looking for it, can expect it. Even on that last Gartley, which was phenomenal, we had kind of a delayed confirmation where HSI didn't complete till 4 weeks later, and then broke above the 50 level another few weeks after that. But they're great pattern. I like it. You know, everyone's talking about Tau, Bittensor, BitTensor, however you want to say it, like this, and as an AI play, and that got beaten up, came all the way back down to, what was it, like 177 down here. Interesting thing is that we have a bunch of target ones, 417. There's multiple patterns here. 458. So that's where that probably goes. I'm watching it, even though HSI is kind of topped out for the moment up here. Still making progress. What I want to do, folks, is focus on those prime pattern setups, things that are giving us ample reason to enter long positions after this sell-off. Go from there. Oh, you know what? Going back to stellar lumens, I am, look, still long, not as much. I might be lightening up a little bit as a scratch here because of that HSI. But this is still, like render, one of the nicer patterns out there. I just don't know if we're going to get anything more than this dud reaction for now. But if you go to the GXLM, and shout out to Mitch Ray, who brought this to my attention, where we have a lot of patterns on the grayscale stellar lumen trust. Look at this. Pretty interesting, right? So I'm watching that. It's just a secondary way where GXLM's got a lot of things down here around the 20 level. Confirmation with the dot, a check back would be more like 18. But when we're catching these back-to-back type of patterns, we don't want to ignore them. That's a beautiful setup. Look, I see something like that. I'm focused. That's, okay, you have qualified for my crypto list. Now let's see if it can play out. Maybe we get that one more check back. I'm watching. I really wanted XLM to bust 30 cents over the weekend, and it did not. So just caution. We need Bitcoin to really run to set this thing free again. Solana, guys. So Solana was at 95, went to 150, still at 150. What are we going to do? 4-hour chart. Just focus on that 4-hour chart. And this is what I find interesting on Solana with what's going on currently. You're up here with a couple of patterns here, no doubt. And again, 4-hour time frame That's going to show us things that we're not going to see on the daily. True make or break is 156, 155, obviously getting rejected. So watching that for now, I wouldn't be. It's not a long position for me. Okay, I'm not. Even if you were caught this at 105, I'm still of the opinion that that's probably a good trade and should be a good trade, and that might be all we get. Would not be surprised to see this come back and do a type 1 on the bat pattern. Couple of bullish things developing currently, but just watch it. Look, if you're afraid you're going to miss out on some kind of Solana crush, it's not until above these levels, 157, 160, and that's where then things could truly develop. But we're definitely entered it. To me, it seems like we've entered this pause phase at the triggering of all of these daily signals. No one knows. No one knows? We got to have an idea. Freeman saying nobody knows where the markets are going. I kind of disagree. We're always building arguments, guys. Always trying to look. Harmonic pattern framework. All it really takes is chart time. Learn the basics, not difficult once you know what you're looking at. Get with the software because it's going to lay out everything for you. But we've been pretty clear directionally over the past many weeks and months. And so I think you're right in terms of no one knows 100%, but we've had damn good ideas with high degrees of probability, as my friend Mark Douglas would always say. Thinking in probabilities. And harmonic pattern probability has been damn good for us. So I'll stick with that. I hear you, but I'm just thinking pause. We can pause right now. We're not ready to rage just yet. It's better than it was. A couple others that I'm warming up to is got to be Cardano, guys. I'm thinking Cardano. We got this bat pattern, another 4-hour creature here. We're not really, look, we had the possibility here last week to roll over and do some damage. We didn't. So I'm watching that. You're coming off of a couple of major structures. You have this shark type 2, kind of like Render and a few others. Good narrative, and I'm not one on narrative. But boy, if Cardano isn't like the most improved crypto of the last year, especially on its reputation, I don't know what is. Cardano went from being dismissed to being in the White House, a part of the conversation. I don't think Cardano really was a part of the major crypto future conversation, despite all its promise up until the last 3 or 4 months. I've been saying 55 cents as the massive type 2 retest for Cardano. If that has happened, if that's what we're looking at, then we should be looking at this thing to develop from here. And I think it's back to, 95 cents, maybe even higher. One moment. Okay. Let's get through this HSI signal. Again, we're in a pause. A lot of these, we're up here with the first thrust reaction after the big March dump. This is the first challenge we've seen, and it's been like the first challenge in 2 or 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks on the bearish side. So no rush, but I would be looking for entry points against that last 55 retest. What we're saying here for Cardano, focus on it. This secondary test has got to be it. You're looking for this secondary test, and that was like, what was the low? It was like 50 cents, depending on your feed again. 50, 51 cents, 55 cents was the number. So if it is, then the only possibility for this, it's a lot higher. It's not just a little higher, it's a lot higher. So I find that in an interesting spot where over the next several days and weeks, we should see this thing continue to turn up. Let me get there's Binance. Yeah. I mean, there's Binance Feed, Binance US, there's Kraken, and yeah. I mean, they're all pretty much 50, 55 cents. The futures chart might be a little bit different, but I think you got to be, if you're not watching Cardano as a part of the stable of crypto, you really should. And I'm not saying it's going to shoot off right now, but I am thinking that Cardano, and you guys got to hold me to this, Cardano is going to eventually make its way up to the Type 2 at 124. So it's going to take time. I mean, that's like, that very well could be the summer, late summer, or even into the fall or end of the year, but I like it. It's been fairly stable in recent months, despite this up and down thing. I'm really liking it. I like what I'm seeing here. And again, it's been early, but Cardano is kind of vaulting itself to a top tier crypto play. But where's the real money? Where's the real money, guys? It's in the degenerate, deep down, dirty crypto. And so let's look at some real trash. Trump coin. Got your attention now? Let's go. Trump coin is interesting. That's not it. That's not the Trump coin I want. Trump coin. Come on. Let's go Trump. It's Trump USD. Trump coin, it's done something that it needed to do, and I want to bring it to your attention. Trump coin was kind of it was the sign of the short-term top. Could be the sign of the short-term bottom too, but Trump coin did the 886 cycle move. First cycle comes out, does the speculative bubble thing all the way up, and that was an amazing move, but it was like a 1-2 day thing. All the way back down to where now, let's just call it like it's $9.50, $10-ish. That all-time 886, clearly holding initial signs of development there, where I would start to look. Not yet. Okay, give it a little extra time, but that's the first reaction thrust off of the low. And so, look, if this thing is going to find support, if this thing's going to find buyers and not go to zero, okay, then it tells you a bit more about the overall story of allocation. And I've been saying that. You need to see money flow back into this market, into all this garbage. Bitcoin needs to be trending hard. These other terrible coins need to be getting allocation. And what would we expect from something like Trump coin after hitting this 886 and taking your time? Okay, can we make that move up? Let me do it like this. Can we get there, and can we go and do a 382 bump? That's what I'm thinking here. Even in a horrible bear market bull trap bounce, that we could be setting up here to just do a 382 rump, where you go, what was that low? 7 and change? Yeah, it was 7. 382 on Trump coins, like 38. And you want to see that. You do want to see that. The only thing is, counter HSI, here we go again. But that's okay. That's like the first speed bump on its way to doing more. No, I'm not doing Joe coin. I'm not doing Joe coin. And I've been going through these. And I mentioned last time that I actually started a position on Giga Chad. I know I'm almost embarrassed to say it. And we might be back in the zone for a little while because we have another HSI kind of capping it for now. But there's lots of patterns. So if there was ever a time with the meme coin thing, I would start looking here. Hop level on the butterfly has held. Sure, we're going sideways in this range, but target one is 5 cents. So do the math. We get allocation. Imagine if Bitcoin was back above 100,000. Just imagine. Bitcoin goes back 100K and this crap starts moving. It's going to move pretty hard. And I'm kind of trying to get in front of this as not only as like a degenerate crypto play, but also to highlight the harmonic phenomenon here. That it's a just absolutely devastating correction, like 80, 90%, but that's good in crypto land. And if we get the hard rebound, what have we been seeing? These things go to target twos, not just target ones. I'm saying target one to be conservative, but that's the rationale behind here. How do you avoid mistakes? Don't over allocate. Don't go in all at once. Okay, I'm looking for this thing to develop. Still needs time. The daily is above the 50. The weekly is just starting to bust. Weekly dot, even for a new total garbage crypto like that, okay, the dot was last week. So we're early in this process. And I think force a double off of here, not a tough one. Not a tough one. Go to, what was the other one? Apecoin. Yeah, I won't do the fart coin. I mean, I know why is everyone talking about fart coin? I don't get it. Apecoin. Yeah, Apecoin's the same thing though. You know, Apecoin did the same type of 886, had the big move and came all the way back down, and now dot on the weekly. A lot of dots on these weeklies, right? That's what we were waiting for all last month, actually even late February. Like, when are we going to get this confirmation? So that was 2 weeks ago, not even 10 days ago. That's Apecoin down at 50 something cents. Yeah, another counter. Beautiful pattern here. And let's walk through it really quick. For those that are new to the software, please watch the strategy session. Everyone will get that. Okay, when you sign up, subscribe, or even get the trial, you will get the strategy session from last month that highlighted how to read this stuff, especially when you go pattern completion to counter signal. What does that mean? More time back in the zone. And happen real frequent on these type ones. And that's okay. We get these secondary shots. That's what that is. Now with another counter, let's just understand that might take more time. So not 55 or something. Maybe he wants to come back to 45. Watch it. No rush. I mean, that's the one thing with all these patterns. Okay, all these big setups, you're still quite early in the development. But, these are obscure for sure. But, structurally, they've set up all right. All right, you guys, are you kidding me? I'll fart coin. I can't believe I'm going to pull this up. You got to be kidding me. Really? My son would love this. My son would love, I mean, he would not stop laughing if I told him about crypto. I started talking to my 6-year-old, sorry. I got to give him a shout out. Big shout out to my son, Lucas. He wanted a shout out. So I've been teaching him about patterns and crypto, getting him to push some buttons. He would probably laugh at this. I'm laughing just because of the crab pattern, but if you're in Fartcoin, I mean, well done, because that's the kind of daily oversold signal, perfect confirmation where you get that kind of bump. That's the type of bump I'm looking for in Trump coin. I mean, they're pretty much the same. It's all on the, sorry, 1 second. Bear with me. It's all about buyers and sellers. So whoever's trying to coordinate this buy, great, but you're overextended 1618. Come back to target one on Fartcoin. But Trump coin is a very similar situation. And remember, what we were saying is, can we get a 382 reactive bump? And that's what it was. Look at that. I mean, that's just perfect 382 at 120 on Fartcoin. Amazing. So a couple of those, I mean, super degenerate crypto. The other one that I mentioned last time was this Mother coin. And we got a sizable move, guys. I'm still long. Even you had a little drawdown in the last 2 days. But remember, we were talking about this at under a penny, and it went above 2 cents, coming back. All of these patterns back here, all of the patterns were at 1 penny. This might need more time before we get the larger move. The target is still 2.5 to 3 on the first shot. But possibility target one's at like 4.3. And that's all. I'm not thinking anything beyond that, but for a kind of super speculative crypto degenerate move, that's how it comes together, like stuff like that. And if we're gonna go to bigger cap, all right, I'll peek at Doge for a second because I actually noticed that was trying to get above 20. Got close, has patterns, just not ready to blast through yet. Put in another HSI yesterday, and we're going to use this pattern probably all summer. 14.6. That's the big level on Doge. And you're only looking for Doge to go, frame it out, but that would be a great move. Down to XA level to target one. It's perfect type 1. We had Ponzi, had Lieutenant Ponzi in here on last week. He had a couple of interesting ones as well. What's up, Prez? You want to look at Pepe? Yeah, what's that doing? Is that scraping the barrel? Because some of these are not the same. I mean, Pepe versus like SHIB. Can't even believe I'm talking about this stuff. But yeah, a few patterns down here. But we're counter HSI. You're at 9 millionths of a penny or whatever that is. It's probably more like 6 millionths of a penny to really do something weekly on that is a dot. This is the thing, though. That's a good sign. But what really needs to happen, we got to, and this is why I know this thing needs another week. Can you get that above 50 and really get the acceleration? Because that's where possibilities are realized. Get above the 50. I like it. Not a bad way to speculate, especially after the thing has corrected 80, 90%. That's how these things go. There's SHIB, guys. Another weekly HSI dot. And I don't think it's anything different than the last one. It should be treated where, look, you're going to get oversold. You're going to set up the dot and the arrow. You're still going to take time to do some kind of thrust move. Here, the same thing. I mean, probably 5-6 bars before you get that full development. So where we are now is like week 1. You could be 4 to 6 more weeks sideways before you get any kind of bigger move. But static resistance is up around 3 millionths of a penny or whatever that is. I am in disbelief, but this is harmonic patterns. This is it's funny he says that because he's saying I'm in disbelief, but that's the truth. Normally, I think if it was, I'm older than most of you folks, so and what I grew up with were traditional old school market guys who would have looked at this as like, I don't know, as absolute garbage, but you have real markets here and we have verifiable signals that we can't ignore. If you're crypto, the moves happen. We just got to get ourselves in alignment. I mean, look at SUI now. And remember that daily pattern? Okay, shark with several sharks. Now we're back to back sharks, but it's the same kind of situation. We talked about this last time. Big shark at $2, 205, and it's still traded in that range for 4 or 5 weeks before it finally broke out. We have another shark. Okay, check this out. Perfect type 1. But this is the fulfillment of the reaction, and it's the same reaction that we're looking for in all of those other patterns, and they usually lead to sizable percentage gains. You go 2 to 365. It's a nice move. Really almost a double, 70+% in a short period of time. That's how they should be treated. A couple others. Look, the AI stuff. So these AI coins, I'm interested. I'm looking at stuff we talked about last time, like AIOZ and FET. Where's FET? Everybody knows FET AI. Back here at 70. Big patterns. We talked about why 50 cents was probably the area to be following, or 60 cents. I forget what it was exactly. And we're down here. Now we have a bearish dot. Yeah, I think it was 60. Even though it got to 40, it's down here a little bit lower. If you're in doubt, go dot to dot. I mean, just simply go dot to dot, which is, I would look at it like that. Reaction over for now. And the weekly is even better. So weekly was 57. Massive bat pattern. This also fulfills, depending on what feed, but this also fulfills the 886 kind of crazy cycle reset. You go up, you have some kind of major parabolic move, and then come all the way back for an 886 reset and start over. That's what it's doing. That's where you are there on FET. 886 is 55 cents. I would still say, with all of these, can we get a retest one more time? Possibly. And 55 cents to do a target one, which is 160. It's not easy because you have to be putting yourself out 6 months. We're looking at these levels now to trigger something and get us to targets later this summer or even later in the year. Couple more. What's up? SUI DGen. You want to look at, what's that? Gun USD. What's this, a new one? Brand new. I can't do anything with that. Gun USD, don't know what that is. I can't. And this could pop. It could double. I don't have anything to offer you. Yeah, and this will probably get other listings and the like. It's on MEXC, guns. Yeah, can't really offer much on that. What's up, Claire? Wants to look at Palm AI. Palm AI on MEXC. Nice one, Claire. First move over. It is a shark to 5-0 in progress, but we're going to have to wrestle with 38. Definitely wrestle. Look at the confirmation down here, though, that came in. Everything was crazy. And look, there was the perfect confirmation of the yellow dot, hit the shark at 15. Then the dot came in and said, all right, I got a confirmation trigger around 20 cents. It still went down to 16. That's crypto. But that's what we want to see. I can work with something like that. I have one or two that I'm looking at right now that'll show you that are probably coming off something like that. But the fact that we are running into a counter HSI, still early, retesting it, I'd watch this. Can you get above 40 cents to then do a secondary move? This might be done for the moment. But okay. Palm AI, and I like these. They seem abandoned is a great word because, unloved. They came all the way back down to the lows. I get the feeling, though, it's just like last year. Like AIOZ and some of those others, they got crushed, and then they made a huge comeback, and they got crushed again. Why not? Target one's 86 cents, so that would be a fantastic percentage move, even if you were just to blindly say, get me long here. But that's okay. It's crypto. Just don't overinvest. Go in chunks. Enter in chunks, exit in lumps. So that means a fifth. Enter your position in 3 parts, 4 parts, 5 parts. I find that's really helpful with crypto. Ethereum Classic, patterns all over the place. And this has been another one where back down here at it was like 15 generally, whole bunch of patterns. I mean, we've liked this a number of times. And each time it does a big move up to about 35 and then quits. Okay? For this one, I'm watching. We had really fine confirmation check back on the green bar. Like right there on the 8th of April, that was it. And then how do you know? Well, look at where the HSI cracks above the 50. Step 1, fantastic. Then what would step 2 be? Get above the 50 on amplified right there. That was the 18th, 10 days later. You get that kind of position, guys, then it's a fat finger long. Then you can expect things to unfold from that point. Okay, even though the market was crazy in the last 6 weeks or so, I think we've always stayed within the harmonic pattern framework, and the development required, even in all of this insanity, definitely is proving itself here. So I do like this position here, maybe a little bit lower, but I'm thinking again about plays to be lining up now for a move that goes into the summer or into the fall. Because this is a deep oversold. Like these prices down here at 13, 14, they're not going to hang around. We might bounce between 17 and 15 for a little bit, but I'm thinking already about the move to 25. This is overdone to the downside, and I'm looking at Ethereum Classic in development now. Little pause at these dots and HSI arrows, but I'm thinking 25, guys. Hold me to that. Hold me to that. 25 on Ethereum Classic from this zone. First move is probably toast. It's done for now. That's fine. We'll get this thing moving back up again. Even if HSI and Amplified come back a little bit more, once that starts turning back up again, then we get going. A lot of interesting plays here. Yep. Mitch Ray in the house. Mitch Ray, we were just talking about you. Ears must have been buzzing. How are you today? Mitch Ray, TA, the man, every night. Just destroying the markets. Great to see you, man. What's going on? He's saying MicroStrategy is running 381. Beauty. Beauty. We talked about MicroStrategy last time. Pretty clear downtrend, broken out. Haven't moved my arrows. Speaking about breakout, Nasdaq's up 70 at the moment, trying to crack up to new highs. And meanwhile, S&P is just on the edge of 55.80, looking to make moves. Nice. Nice. MicroStrategy, 381. Ever since we put in the weekly, here you go, we had that weekly bottom double dot. And this is everything is a repeat from last week, guys. But what's different? We are realizing the move. 50 breakout. This is my work from the last couple of sessions. Okay. 2 dots. Let me walk through it for everybody. Double dots. Beautiful. Stabilization. How many weeks? Pull out the roller. There's the low. And then we go sideways, and I would say we'd even break out was like 8 weeks later. Beautiful. And the 50 got higher, amplified above the 50, trade those up into overbought signals. That was nice. Coinbase is the other one. And we like Coinbase and we like Connell. Connell's probably the one play. I think he's got percentage moves written all over it. I don't know if you saw that or have talked about that one, Mitch, but just sweet. Coinbase now 206. We were 150 a couple weeks ago. The 2X Coinbase shares look like this. Okay, 18. I think that's still a steal. We were as low as 10. What was that low? Yeah, it was 10. It's 2 patterns here. Okay. 12, 15-ish, now 18. I talked about this last week. The number from here is target 143. Shark to 5-0s. Maybe even as high as 51. And I think it's very reminiscent of where we were here back in September. Big thrust move. Come all the way back down. It's actually a 2 of 2. It's a 2 off of that shark. It's a type 1 off of this shark. Do not take your eye off of that. This is where your analysis and your independent thinking of sizing up the framework, getting confirmation, and understanding, okay, it's a type 1. I have confirmation. I'm seeing the development. Where should it go? We line up the targets. I mean, yeah, I know it sounds crazy. Wait, 12 to 43? How could that be? It's the framework. Follow the framework. We take that. Can we get above this zone? Can we get out of that hole? And I would look at it in a stair-step process. Above 15, above 21, above 26, then 43. Get out of the zone first, and then accelerate to targets. And that's where you are with CONL. Speaking of targets, S&P 500 breaking up to the high of the day. Nice, well done. I'll jump to stocks in a second. And what else? Yeesh. Looking all right. I should buy some Tesla right here. I'll buy some more. So look, guys, crypto has put itself in a position finally, and I would say it's the first time since December where we can really take it seriously to the upside, that you have verifiable evidence for this argument. Keep an eye on Connell. What about the miners? Like, what about stuff like Mara? 14 was 9 again. Big patterns. Okay. 1209. That was the XA 113. Okay, or OB. Looking better. And I think the weekly, this is all about a weekly story because we got dots. Do we have dots? Did we have dots before? No. Well, we had bearish dots. And that's why we were looking for this retracement. Now bullish dot, folks. That's what we want to see. get the confirmation and rock and roll. We're above the 50. Here's going to be the big thing. And I know a lot of people are into these. Look, another story about maybe it's next week, but get that above the 50 level. And then we could see this thing start to open up. Yep. Very good. I like it. I'm okay with this. This finally. Look, Mara and Riot and all of these, they might be in their first instances of a possible long, really since August, with the signals we have. There's Riot. Boy, talk about underperformer. But we should be looking right here where we were. Yesterday, HSI came out of the zone. So that's a big deal. S&P, big move up on the S&P. NASDAQ high of the day. Now up 100, and S&P just jumped from 55.80 to 55.90. You just blinked 10 points in a heartbeat there. Let's go over there in a second. We'll go there in a second. The other one I want to talk about in my segue to stocks, CleanSpark, which was something that I was in and then I scratched it out. I'm looking here because we're back above the 50. Amplified's got to turn up, but all of these levels are, they're deeply oversold. So the miners might be getting their time very soon. Yeah, this is a Gartley down here. The dot, too. Look, check out the dot. Dot confirmation on CleanSpark was like $8. Big push higher, guys. S&P closing in on 5,600. NASDAQ well above that 19.6, and there's nothing here. We're full on continuation. Let's jump into this. 55.91 on S&P. Let's talk about a couple stocks. You guys want to put some symbols into the chat? Let me know. Okay, but how are we looking now? How does this look? What does this look like now? I mean, crazy capitulation down move. Okay, no dot, but HSI was at the low and 4,800. Remember, it's all about the weekly chart still. And this has been, I don't know. These charts will eventually land themselves into some textbook somewhere. That target one reversal at 48.73, epic. And it was not only that on the weekly, but we had a monthly too. And we're looking, so here's the crazy thing, and it might happen today, guys. On the monthly chart for S&P, we're on the verge of doing this entire 1 and 2, meaning we flush down, we hit target 1, and look, we're now going to get a target 2 all on the same bar at 56.15. I thought this might take an extra day or two, but this tells us a lot about what's going on. If you understand the framework, okay, and this is to understand the significance of what you're looking at right here, means that this was just a simple reaction off of that massive deep crash. Is going to pivot out. First we'll take 56.15, but then we'd be looking for this area. The way this is going to line up, and just absolutely the best, the clearest chart's going to. We've been talking about the fact that the market is already in the return phase, has been in the return phase for 3 or 4 weeks, meaning reaction over, go back, now do your type 2 work, get back into the zone. And that's where we're headed. 56.15 is a minimum objective for the return move, meaning it has to hit. That has to hit. But if we look at where's HSI? Where's Amplified? Like, what are they telling us? HSI on this thrust return move, just cracking 50. So there's some strength behind this. Also, Amplified, not above the 50, meaning both of these measures are nowhere near signaling overbought just yet. That tells me that it's okay, 56.15. That's step one. But if we push higher, 6K, 5,800, 6,200, that's probably where more of the signaling confirmation comes in. Yeah. Mitch is saying, yeah, looking at Lockheed Martin, I'll go to there. And we have a ton of patterns. That's the other thing about what's going on now. We have a ton of patterns, guys. It's not like we don't have patterns. The only thing we're missing on a lot of these is development, but this should happen pretty quickly. Pretty quickly. I like what's going on, guys. The only problem I had with the March, April retracement was that it was deeper, harder, faster than I thought. But now the rebound could be the same kind of a situation. 56.15 again. We're gonna get it this week. We're gonna get it this week either way because Thursday is May 1st. Thursday is May 1st. So even if we go into the next monthly bar, so be it. I like what's going on there. And let me get into a few. I definitely want to look at, Mitch was saying Lockheed Martin. There's a lot of those type of stocks that are setting up in ideal fashion. But Megatech is also there too. And again, Amazon, guys. I'm really thinking this is a real fine setup with a weekly oversold. And I'm thinking, forget 180. Okay, forget 190. I think anything under 200 is a steal on Amazon because if I'm right about these signals, this is just a channel retracement. And we should look for continuations just like the last several signals. And I mentioned this. But the one thing I'll point out, and I kind of want to, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to just throw out numbers and say, all right, it's definitely going here. I want to highlight the relationships so you're not surprised, or at least we have an idea where it's going. The last several HSI weekly signals all yielded 1618 advances. You know, the last one, 150 to 230. Okay, this one, the little, whatever the prior retracement was, that triggered that weekly signal. All of them went to 1618 advances. And that's what, could possibly be developing here. And so it's not only just, hey, give me a recovery. Is this trend continuation? And we go to another 1618, like 295, 300. That's the question. For now, I'll take it in small itty bitty steps. 382 is like 193 or so. 50 level, like 200. So get us above 200, and then we'll deal with a full 886 retest. I still been saying for Amazon, with everything going on here, okay, what we're looking for is this to stabilize and go back and retest the big deep crab pattern at like 231. I was happy buying it at 200, then 190 and 180 to get back to 230 here. That kind of a thing. But weekly development looks really fine. One or two more, of course. Tesla. How you doing with Tesla? Tesla's like this. Daily, full on type 1, folks. Took its time. 348's target 1. Why would we not be targeting that? It's an extended, drawn out type 1, but it's still holding. Big push NASDAQ right now. S&P too, follow through. So understand where we are in this whole framework. super constructive. You did the hard work in the last 30 days. And even in this big drawdown, if this was really going to fall apart, we'd be under these lows. We'd be under 200. So 267, that's been the focal point of the whole time. And a couple of dot confirmations were like 260. We go to 350 on that. Amazon, Tesla, what about Meta? Because Meta had an ugly pattern and looks like it's, straightening itself out. Hop level 522. We talked about that for reactive 100-point move back to target 1 at 624. Yep. Earnings coming out. What's that, tomorrow? Yep. So these are big earnings, and I like them to the upside. I really do. We should be looking for plays here. Maybe even some like Friday calls. Look at that. Beautiful bat on the hourly at 493. I don't think they're going to be able to hold this back. Let's look at Mitch's Lockheed Martin and a couple others. Lockheed Martin on the daily or weekly, man. There's daily. Oh, yeah. I see what you're getting at. I mean, look. Nice, long, extended retracement within a long-term uptrend. There's a couple of ways we can draw that downtrend channel. All of that looks good. Whew, weekly dots here. Why not? This is what we want. This is exactly when I talked about the generational opportunity, guys, and we started the year talking about that generational opportunity that was coming our way. It was after the retracement. So this retracement's critical. And what we're looking for across the board is stabilize on the weekly and then begin the move back up. Get going. Keep going. What's up, Floyd? Wants to look at DuPont. I think these are great stocks to be looking at now. Yeah, look. Destroyed. For what reason? Tariffs? Some kind of perceived narrative that will never play out? Look, that was just a hiccup. Oh, look at that. Right off the 54.76 level for the official type 2 and a dot. And again, these are big patterns. They're big patterns in a way that, have to get in front of them. They're not going to spend that much time down here. And it's where we look for larger continuation turnarounds. Yeah, look. Look, this is going to be a slow mover, kind of a snail, but the 50-ish, 55 level, 60 level is your support, and with 80 as the ceiling, even in the short term. All good. Couple more. What's up, Kingpin? Let's look at Halliburton. It's been a while. I haven't looked at that. Where are we at with that? 20, Shark, weekly, type 2, whole bunch of stuff down here. It doesn't have confirmation. Can we get that turning around? I would think that's a little early. Again, easiest way to come in, look at your favorite stock or crypto. Are we below or, well, first of all, do you have a pattern? Or what's the last pattern you see? And then even go to HSI. Are we below or above the 50? We're below. Just let that get above the 50. Then you've got a little something. We're still in a downtrend. I would say possibility hitting 1752, likely. Patience with that, but it's okay. I mean, it's not crazy. What's the monthly there? Monthly basis, because I know this thing has been downtrending for a while. Yeah, even the monthly needs another green. It needs one more green bar. Whatever happened to those? Like, what happened to XLE? Did we get down to the big? No, not yet. The bigger targets were like 70. Were we down there or 67? Long term. Crab pattern 60. Yeah, it's still, that's the XLE. That hasn't moved in 3 or 4 years, but that doesn't mean it won't. Somebody wanted to look at SoFi. They had earnings, or they have earnings. Um, yeah, I think is another one. SoFi was all the way back at 8 recently, and now back to 13. Something's up here. This does look like it could get some legs. And this is, whoever put that up, thank you, because it really serves the conversation well. We have this. Okay, a couple of dots. I'll go to the daily in a second, but this always helps the weekly. Push above the 50, right there, right now. Amplified, first week above the 50. So track that. I like what's going on there. And then you have this daily type 1. Did we get the 2? It was a shark. Earnings are they're today. They're today, probably after hours, right? Little late to do anything. If we came back to 1056 one more time, that would be your 2 of 2. I'd be happy with that. Plenty of time with these. Listen, I'll show you 1 or 2 that I really like. Kind of like the Lockheed Martins of the world. Cummins engine, guys. This is like Caterpillar and a bunch of these others. Sold off from 380 down to 260 at the low. Couple of patterns like 298 under 300, and then the weekly is putting in another one of these weekly dots, weekly arrows. And again, look at these industrials. Look at the Dow. I didn't pull up the Dow today yet. Maybe I will. But here we are. Another weekly type 1. And I got to say, if you're new to harmonic patterns, the simple realization, and you don't even have to know the patterns. Let the software define it for you. But the simple understanding that every pattern has a reaction first to target and then a retest for the larger reversal, type 1 reaction, type 2 reversal, would be like that. So where are you in the framework? Reaction completed, 276 is your number. Do the return move to 328.88. Woo! We got some action here on NASDAQ, bumping to new highs for the day. Hold on. Hold on. Woo. 1 second. Okay. A couple more. The other one was Caterpillar. Here. And another one deeply oversold on the weekly. The daily's got everything like right at 300. So consider this the washout. Maybe that wasn't. Maybe it was Deer. Regardless, a lot of these they were just overdone to the downside. Deer was a Gartley, or was a shark here at 406. And it was just an overspill move. That's it. Overspill move, guys. Beyond that, noise. Framework is definitely just proving itself. What about new opportunities? What about stuff like, I'm looking at Google, okay, on the weekly chart, like this. It's another one, got oversold down here. Like unbelievable, that was 140. And it's more like this. Got to get these above, for recovery moves, get these above the 50 level. And I know this is post earnings, which is actually good because it gets that out of the way. But now we could get some acceleration. Again, 160, go back to 180, 190, something, make some kind of run to do the retest. Yeah. They crushed earnings. SoFi crushed earnings today. Why didn't they rally? Don't know. Chris S. Yeah, we can look at LAC. Let me get through some of these bigger ones. I'll go to that. What was the other one? QQQ level here. Oh, Netflix. So Netflix is showing us the strength, and I wanted to bring this up. Quietly, Netflix is at all-time new highs, guys. All-time new highs on Netflix. What does that tell you about the rest of them? If Netflix can push to all-time new highs, I don't care what the narrative news story is. What's that tell you about allocation? It's coming back. Really didn't go away, but you're starting to see that flood return. So whatever February, March was, early April, it is over. Why wouldn't Netflix do a 1618 itself? With that kind of as strong of a move as that was, the low is 827. Why don't we do a 1618? That's how we should be thinking across the board for all these techs. Tesla, Meta, Amazon. Netflix is showing us the way. What about Nvidia? Gotta like this. Gotta say that, look, everyone waits for Nvidia, or they're, maybe just didn't get a sizable enough pullback. I'd have to say with Nvidia doing what it's done so far, and it did on the daily, was type 1, type 2. There you go. Bring that back here. Couple of different patterns, back-to-back patterns. 106.90 is the number, guys. And I would argue that with last week's higher low, there's your capitulation low, secondary low at 95. This thing's in. This thing is now in. So if we're positioning for Nvidia, same kind of situation. We're looking for the target ones. Okay, minimum level, target one. That's like 123, 124-ish. Let's round it up on both sides. Call it 110 to 125. These are in position. That's why I'm a lot more constructive now. I've been warming up to this thing over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and now you're seeing it. You're seeing that development company by company. Netflix is a huge deal. Really, and then you see Nvidia. What I'm thinking is that people might be kicking themselves in a month or two from now when Nvidia is trading 125, 135. Lots of patterns even higher. That's what we should be thinking. Absolutely. Where are we with this? Yeah, getting back above the 50. That's what I wanted to show you. Okay, real acceleration probably next week with a bigger push. But I like where it is within the harmonic pattern framework. Broadcom, same deal. And I think I like this even more because this was such a washout all the way down there at 140, now 190. Incredible. This week, we're pushing above the 50. That's a big deal. And then this other situation here. Can you get that? Just one more candle. Where does it go? You're 190-ish. Listen, I push this thing. It's like Amazon. 180, 190, go back to 230. I have to emphasize that these are in a phenomenal position. Okay, I don't expect anybody to go in there and catch a knife 3 or 4 weeks ago. But after a couple of bars like this, steady progress, higher lows, yeah, that's development. That's how we shape this and turn this around. Nvidia is a large head and shoulders, says Floyd. It may be, but go put in that right shoulder. Go put in that right shoulder. And how many times do head and shoulders not work out? Understand what I'm saying here, folks. We are in a return phase. Okay? That return phase, if it's NASDAQ, S&P, what have you, is higher, pushes us higher. Okay, gets us back up to levels like where we were towards the end of last year. The larger consequences of whether that's a head and shoulders or not, okay, we can deal with it. But in the short term, look, we're breaking out, we're breaking up above this kind of action here. Maybe, but I hear what you're saying, but I'm just saying for now, okay, something like Broadcom or Nvidia, okay, they are in the process of doing that rebound, recovery, return move that is 10 to 20% higher from current levels. S&P is showing us the way too. They did. They definitely they got weekly indicate. Look, that was the thing. It was a weekly oversold reading, and that's why it's taking a month, 2 month on the daily chart. That we're all used to the daily 7 day, 5 day correction rebound, and we're right back at all time new highs. On this chart, look, Broadcom and where it's headed, higher. I think higher in the short term, higher in the long term. And if I get some kind of bearish confirmation, so be it, but nothing is there yet. A couple more. I didn't look. I want to bring the Dow and those industrial stocks more into the conversation going forward. Not only is it just ideally harmonic, okay, but we could be looking at this index and the companies within catching a real big bid because they were so slammed. It's 37,292, the obvious target one, and 42K is where we're headed. I said that last week. I'll reiterate it this week. The big number that everyone should be aware of, once we get above 40,800, we're in business for a push and a larger push higher. Do the type 2. You want to get bearish, get it at the type 2 with confirmation. But in the meantime, okay, that is still higher in this short-term segment, and I mean like an 8 to 10 week time frame. A lot of this pushes us out into the summer, lining up for, okay, if we have started this return move, then look out. We should see stocks rally from here into June, July, and give us a summer top, and then we'll deal with it. But for now, jump on the other side because we have that development, getting that continuation confirmation. Okay, one or two more. What's up, Abu? Wants to look at Albertsons, ALB, or Alb Marie, Alb Marley. Alb Marley. How is that different from Albertsons, the grocery chain? Don't know. It is a type 2 on the weekly, but again, still have a lot of work to do there. Again, that's catching a knife. And I say that because even HSI is not above 50 level. Think of it that way. Hold on. Here's one or two of those kind of charts I'm looking at. Celsius. These are big oversold. Celsius has like, was it daily or weekly? I had some big patterns here on Celsius. No, maybe it was Monster. I think it was MNST. And you're going to find a lot of patterns like this. Yeah, it was a day. Well, since that 48 low. But this is also coming out of a larger weekly phenomenon. Trend continuation is really what I'm saying here. Like we had a bunch of targets, didn't seem like it was doing much. Now it is. Hold on. Great. One or two more. There was one that it's escaping me. Is it Palantir? Yeah, Palantir. Guys, look at Palantir. Right back to all-time highs. So what's the market going to do? If a stock like Palantir, all it simply did was a channel retracement. I know that was 115 down to 75, but a sign of the market. This was the biggest winner of last year. And so in all of that noise from February until March, that's all you got. Watch Palantir. I mean, I think this is also set up where, okay, go to the 886 first, like there to there, you're almost there. 120, 122, 120, and then do a 1618. 165-ish or so. Those are your best patterns. So what about speculation? Can we get some low floaters? Because if the market's going to rebound, I'm looking things like Rocket Lab. I've brought this up before. Making progress, and this is the kind of continuation situation I like to see, where you've had an extended move, then you have a pullback pattern, and get ready for the second leg. The other one was it Reddit? Maybe, although I'm liking Reddit down here. Filled that massive gap. We're now 122. Incredible. It escapes me. I'll come back to this. But there are a number of these that are really fine position. I mean, really, really fine. Reddit, definitely one of them that start dabbling here on the long side for some kind of larger recovery easily. I like it. A lot going on. We are on the cusp, if you will, of seeing the price development that we want. We have indicators across the board. Okay, lots of signals. And I know action has seemed real crummy first 3 months, but now we have this stuff in position, is really what I'm saying. And I like what I see. Gold. Sure. Okay, GC. We'll finish there. Gold has been all about the 3350 level, right? 3350. Went to 3500. Now, weekly dot. So we might, said this last time, and I think we are there for a pause. In gold, we're well above the channel, guys. And I'm still thinking long-term target is 4,100. But I have to respect, at least finally, we've got one bearish candle, and the monthly's like this, where we're still going to have a positive monthly close no matter what. Just gold blows my mind. What I want to see for the next opportunity to jump in is retracement. It is a retracement, and I would say this, okay? Just get the next HSI there and there, like that. So we'll get another one, and it's probably, I said 3,100, maybe 3,050. Let it come in. It's done. No longs here. I mean, gold's done an amazing move. We got to wait for the retracement. Let it come to you. Listen, anybody that's not won the software, please type in HPC 30 for a 30-day package. I'm going to give one away today as I get out the door here. And that will get you over to not only gold membership, but the software for 30 days. Everyone else, 2 weeks. Just send your trading username to Chris over at hpc@sr-analyst.com. I am said last time, and I'm really thinking about doing a follow-up presentation in probably towards the end of June. I'll keep you guys posted. I'm going to put some ideas together here, and it might even be earlier than that. But I think we do one more kind of webinar, strategic webinar for the day before we get through June. So I'll let you guys know, and as a member, everyone can join that, and we'll keep it open to software subscribers too. Pure Pano, you win. You got to send me just DM me, please, on the Discord. And I need your Facebook. I need your TradingView username. I need your email address. I need your full name. Anybody else? If you guys want to get over to send me a message over at Discord if you have any questions, or you want to get the recording from last month, or you just want to get a special deal. I don't know. I'm pretty flexible. Hit me up. Yeah, I didn't forget about LAC. So let's go to LAC really quick. Just a low floater. I didn't want to pass up. I know someone had asked this multiple times. This has always been a low floater, guys. Basically 3 to 4. We had a bat pattern retrace. The weekly, the monthly kind of phenomenon going on here. That's what I think. You're fine. Okay, but it's just going to take time with these low floaters. Also because it was a weekly, even a monthly chart for LAC. I do like the space, and I'm going to save this for next time. I like the minerals. I like the material space. And if we can get through this retracement phase, and let's say everyone starts talking in the second half of this year of the economy picking up, that's when the materials are going to start to move. I mean, LAC is a lot like Mosaic. It is it's a proxy on economy, economic growth. You could also look at Freeport-McMoRan. There's Mosaic. Mosaic's another one similar. And they're putting in oversold signals. This stuff takes time. It doesn't take weeks, it takes months, but not a bad area to be looking and stuff like this. I think maybe we'll save that for next time. Yeah. XLB is the materials ETF. I'll take a peek. But just hear me out. I like what has happened immensely from a development standpoint for the rest of the year. We could very well be looking at the lows of the year or lows of the mid-decade. Not to get too dramatic here, but that's how big this past 30 days has been. We're talking about not only lows for the year, but lows for the decade if we're going to have the massive continuation move. The XLB materials it's a shark to 5-0 with a dot. And again, we're getting a lot of signals here that are promising. We have bullish dots. We have completed patterns. That's the kind of thing we want to build our bullish argument to be able to go along. So, look, it's always been about the SPY chart. Retracement phase is over, been over. We are in the return phase. Okay, 561.48 is the official T2 for the SPY. And if we get there by Thursday, very well, this could trickle into Thursday, Friday. And then we get a new monthly bar. That would actually be the preferred kind of way that this sets up. But look at that monthly chart. It's insanity. I would prefer to see this go into a second month. And then what would happen is if it's a bullish month the next month, the T2 won't generate till up here. So let me be clear. We are still firmly in this recovery phase. We should treat it as such going forward until we get the next set of overbought signals. And that's a ways off. That is a ways off. We got the green bars we needed to see in the last 2 weeks. All right. So everyone, get over to harmonictrader.com. You know the deal. Get with the software. I'll have more information Thursday about what I'm thinking with this presentation because that'll be the beginning of the month, May. And like I said, I don't want to wait till the end of June. It might be, we might do it in like 4 or 5 weeks. Until then, get with the software. You have any questions, get over in the Discord, and I'll catch you guys on Thursday. Have a great one. As always, go get them.